I've been asked on multiple occasions, where do you adopt a wild Mustang? And no, I did not go catch them in the wild. Today, I'm going to share how and where you can adopt a wild Mustang in 2023. If you're watching this at a later date, just be aware that this information can change. Hopefully, this will still be informative and at least point you in the right direction. Alright, so really quick, there's a couple things that you need to understand before we move forward. You need to understand that the Bureau of Land Management, or the BLM, is the agency that's most recognized as being responsible for the management of wild Mustangs. They manage the wild horse population to what they call an appropriate management level. The Mustangs that you see available for adoption are the ones that they have removed from public lands, or the ones that have been born into holding. Within these few sentences that I have said, you'll find a lot of controversy. There are a million rabbit trails that we could go on when talking about Mustangs. Regardless of your stance on the matter, the reality is there are thousands of wild Mustangs still in holding right now, waiting to be adopted. Before you can adopt a wild Mustang, you'll have to complete an adoption application with the Bureau of Land Management. Mustangs are untitled for the first year after you adopt them, which means the government still owns them and they cannot be sold. When you adopt a wild Mustang, you sign a private care and maintenance agreement, and you agree to take on the costs and the responsibility of caring for the Mustang. After that 1-year period, the Bureau of Land Management sends the adopter an application for the title. That process requires an authorized person, such as a vet, to ensure that the animal is healthy and well cared for. Okay, so now that we've covered some of that information, let's get on to where you can adopt a wild Mustang. If you've already adopted a wild Mustang, I'd love to hear where you got yours, so feel free to include that in the comments below. So the Bureau of Land Management, or the BLM, is the agency that most people are familiar with when it comes to adopting a wild Mustang. There are multiple events throughout the year. You can go to an in-person event, and it might be in the form of an auction or scheduled time slots where it's a first come first served basis to adopt a Mustang. It really depends on the regional office that's hosting. You can also participate in the Online Corral, which is an online auction that happens several times throughout the year. There you can view and bid on your horses all on the computer. Each online auction will have several different pickup sites that you can choose to have your horse delivered to. I have an in-detailed video of the internet adoption that I'll include right here. To see the schedule for the upcoming year, I recommend Googling BLM adoption events. That's probably an easier way to find it. Okay, moving on. The U.S. Forest Service is another smaller agency that you can adopt a wild Mustang from. Now, you should be aware that the U.S. Forest Service, because it's its own agency, has its own separate adoption application. So you'll have to complete that before adopting one of these Mustangs. Now, adoption events for the U.S. Forest Service are run differently than the BLM. The U.S. Forest Service kicks off its adoption events very early in the year. This year, they're starting January 3rd. Now, their adoption event has a totally different process than last year, so I'm not going to go into the details here as they can change. So I recommend going straight to the source for more information. Now, the Forest Service is most known for managing horses in the Devil's Garden Wild Horse Territory in northeastern California. However, they do offer several satellite locations that they'll ship the horses to. Delivery isn't guaranteed and it's budget dependent, but they have shipped these horses that have been adopted to these satellite sites for pickup. As a Vermonter, I was so thankful that the Forest Service had a pickup in Vermont at the Rising Action Mustang Society. There's no way that I would have been able to adopt a horse from California if I didn't have that. Now, probably the best way to get more information on these Mustangs is to go to the Facebook page, Devil Wild Horse Corrals. This page is run by a single volunteer, but they do an amazing job at keeping the page updated and sharing photos of the horses and providing updates on the adoption events. The website to the corral is a little bit lengthy, but I will also include that in the description below. Okay, next, you can adopt a gentled wild Mustang from a TIP trainer. TIP stands for Trainer Incentive Program, and is run through the Mustang Heritage Foundation. If you want to adopt a Mustang, but aren't quite sure you're ready for a wild one, this is a great place to start. It's a program that incentivizes trainers to train and adopt out a Mustang for $125 within a 90-day period. At the end of that process, when the Mustang is adopted, the trainer receives $1,000. According to the Mustang Heritage Foundation, Mustangs and burros are considered gentle when they can be haltered, lead, allow all 4 feet to be picked up, and willingly load in and out of a trailer. This is often a great place to start when you're entering into the Mustang world. Now, my own comment here is that achieving these tasks can look very different horse to horse and trainer to trainer. Don't assume that because a Mustang can do these things, they are at the same level of a horse that's, say, been domesticated all its life but not yet saddle trained. They might be at the same level, but maybe not. It really just depends. It's important to be aware so you can set your expectations straight that When you adopt a gentled wild Mustang, they may change or regress a bit when they get a new handler, you, or when they move to a new location, your barn. You're still going to need to continue the work the trainer has already started. Again, what you get can really vary, and it just depends on the horse and trainer. It's really important to ask thoughtful questions, or maybe even ask to engage in the gentling process. Perhaps you can shadow a session or two. The more information you have, the better. Now, a part of the TIP program are the TIP storefronts. The storefronts are where TIP trainers go to pick up their horses that they're going to be training for the program. However, the storefronts might also host different adoption events throughout the year, so it's worth looking into if you're nearby one. So to find a TIP trainer, go to the Trainer Incentive Program on the Mustang Heritage Foundation's website. There, you can find a map of all the current TIP trainers. If you expand the map and go to the Google Maps page, you'll see the markers for the TIP trainers, as well as the storefronts. Another way to adopt a Mustang is through events held by the Mustang Heritage Foundation. There are events that occur throughout the year, such as tip challenges and extreme Mustang makeovers. These events promote the versatility of Mustangs and show the potential they have to be wonderful partners. The first time that I was able to meet a Mustang was at an extreme Mustang makeover years ago. That was my first in-depth exposure to Mustangs and definitely inspired me on my horsemanship journey. Now, it's important to remember that training can really vary in these horses, so definitely do your research ahead of time. Usually you can find a list of the trainers competing and follow them on their various social media platforms. This is really great because you can follow the horses and see their progress and their journey along the way. If you're serious about adopting a Mustang from one of these events, this is not the time to be shy. Go ahead and ask the trainer your questions. It's a great opportunity to reach out and establish a connection with the trainer. Ask any questions. Maybe you can even go visit the horse ahead of the event. This way, you really know what you're getting into and are prepared for when the auction begins, which, by the way, they do after the event. They auction the horses off afterwards to approved adopters, so it's really important to do your research first. To see the schedule for the upcoming year, go to the Shows and Events page on the Mustang Heritage Foundation's website. And just remember, all of these pages get updated, so check back time to time just to make sure that you're getting the most updated information. Another way to get a wild Mustang is through a reassignment. You cannot sell an untitled Mustang, but you can reassign from one approved adopter to another approved adopter. Now again, these Mustangs are probably really going to vary in their training. You might find one available for reassignment that's still untouched or barely started, and another one might be already started under saddle. If you go with the reassignment route, you're probably going to have options in a wider spread of locations, because these Mustangs are already in the homes of their current adopters. If you're familiar at all with my channel, you might be aware that I adopt out the Mustangs that are featured in the weekly videos here. I do this through a reassignment. I personally have decided not to do the TIP program right now for several reasons, but a big one is the location of the storefront and the distance from me in Vermont. Now, you can connect with others reassigning Mustangs on various Facebook pages. A couple of the big ones are the BLM Mustang Family and the BLM Mustang Hub. And of course, you can go to my website at projectequestrian.com to see if I have any Mustangs available. Lastly, you can purchase a titled Mustang. This means that their initial adopter has already gone through their full year of caring for their horse and has received their certificate of title from the government. The horse is no longer government property and can be sold. Another way of purchasing a Mustang is getting a sale authority Mustang. On their website, the BLM says that wild horses and burros more than 10 years old, as well as younger animals that have been offered for adoption at least 3 times, are eligible for sale. Purchasing a wild horse or burro means that ownership of the animal passes immediately from the federal government to the buyer. Now, hopefully that answers your question on where you can adopt a wild Mustang, but my guess is it probably raises more questions. I'm going to link a playlist right here, and in it will be videos that I think will be helpful for you as you consider adopting a Mustang. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments below, and maybe it'll end up as another video in that playlist. Thanks for watching, and subscribe if you want to see my weekly training videos. Bye.